Hello and welcome to another video. Now, it's been a while since the last one. I think around November of 2017. Had a myriad of hardware problems ranging from my microphone to my storage drives, my media drives, basically where I record all my video onto, completely dying. But we're back now. And hopefully you guys will like it. I'm trying to get back into it. I finally also got my recording software to make it so I could record while I stream, which was a big issue for me before. Before I had to stream, then stop the stream, and go through and start a brand new recording afterwards. And then try and get clips while I'm recording and stream independently. Huge pain, huge pain. But now that I can do both at the same time, more videos, hopefully. But I'm sure, as you can tell by the title of this video, we're going to be discussing Lion. So let's go ahead and take a peek at him real quick here. So not Lion, that's Ying. Here we go, here's Lion. So Lion has a pretty great loadout overall. Now we'll get to his ability in a bit, but first let's talk about his weapon. Now Lion has the V308, basically a 308 version of the Vector 308. Easy enough. It's a great weapon, very good damage, three shot down, good fire rate, virtually no recoil at all. It has a good secondary weapon, a great pistol. Remember, this is basically GIGN, and has flashes and claymores, both very good options depending on what your team needs. And his ability, the EE1D, better known as wall hacks, is a very powerful thing. And I guess, again, as the title described, is Lion OP? In my opinion, yes. Yes, he is. He's OP. He's very, very strong. And I'll be showing you guys some clips as I discuss some scenarios. I'll be showing you some clips of him in action, doing the things that I'm discussing in the scenarios in some cases to illustrate that it's not just some theoretical I'm talking about it. I'm not trying to fearmonger or do anything like that. This is something that's very real. It's happening currently, and it's easy to do. Because remember, his ability, click a button, it activates. It's something that's very easy for anyone at any skill level to utilize. All you need is to use your microphone, communicate with your team a little bit, maybe play with some friends, and you can utilize him in this manner as well. And I guess we'll go ahead and hop right into it. I mean, you came to the video to hear the opinions, so let's go ahead and get right onto that one. But before we do that, I want to talk about something that's going to be very important. I'm going to keep referencing it throughout as basically to justify why I feel that Lion is OP. I'm not just barking up a tree here. Something that we need to remember is the bomb timer, the diffuser rather, is 45 seconds long. 45 seconds. Planting and diffusing takes 5 seconds. In ranked, 7 seconds if it's competitive. So anything that I talk about here, I'll talk about it from a ranked perspective, and in competitive, it's a little bit more impactful as well. You gotta remember you have 3 charges and a 10-second delay in between his ability activations, but it's important to note that that cooldown timer begins once the scan starts. So once that scan starts, which it lasts for 4 seconds, that means that you have 6 seconds until you can start that countdown. That 1, 2, 3, scan is active, or 3, 2, 1, scan is active. And it's important to note that, because although that 3, 2, 1 isn't an active scan, it allows the defenders, like the reason it exists is so that the defenders are prepared and can get to a safe location and stand still where they are protected. So keep this in mind as we go into our scenarios here. So the first one is that so you're a Lion player, a competent Lion player, and when I say competent Lion player, I basically mean someone who's not using their charges the second they spawn in because they're trigger happy. So the first situation is that a Lion uses his first ability to clear out a roamer, his second ability to allow for a diffuser being planted pretty much for free because, 7-second duration, 5-second plant time. And the last charge to be used at some time during the post plant, sometime after you plant the diffuser successfully, to be triggered to stop the defenders from trying to push the attackers, from trying to flank, etc. And the second situation is where the Lion has 3 charges. 3 charges left when they go to plant the diffuser. That's going to be your situations where maybe you kill a defender who's trying to spawn peek, you get an early pick from really any reason at all, basically where you have confirmed there are no roamers and you do not have to utilize the ability. So we're going to talk about that last situation right there, which isn't as uncommon as you think. The first one is definitely more common, using 1 to clear a roamer, and then you have 2 remaining. And sometimes you don't necessarily have to use 1 to diffuse. A lot of people still bring Ying, a very important operator, as we saw in the Invitationals recently, which I hope everyone watched. They were fantastic. And in many cases, you might not necessarily need 1 to get the diffuser down. It's just an extra guarantee. So it's totally possible to have this same situation even with the first situation with Lion. But let's go ahead and hop into it. So Lion's ability nearly guarantees that the diffuser is going to be planted with basically no resistance, or you're going to kill a defender, again guaranteed, who is trying to stop it when you have that ability activated. Because if a defender rushes out, they basically have 3 seconds, not basically, they literally have 3 seconds to get that kill and get back to cover, all while not being spotted by literally anyone else, or else they will then be covered in wall hacks. They will be fully outlined, a full body outline, and the attackers will then kill them. It's basically a suicide mission.
What are you supposed to do?
Disregarding the Lion or anything else, you still have to worry about all of the other angles that are being held from anywhere else by the attackers as they would be traditionally. It basically just means that the person trying to plant the diffuser can only be prevented by means of a smoke or a C4, things of that nature, which are similarly prevented with Lion's ability marking them later on, and also prevented through things like smokes, frag grenades, capital fire arrows, flashbangs, and other things of that category as well. So let's say the Lion used his first charge and they got the planter. The diffuser was successfully planted. Now, in many cases, most teams on defense, are going to take a couple seconds to get their bearings. But let's say they're basically penta, and they instantly know the whole situation. They know where every attacker is. They don't have to check cameras. They don't have to do anything. They immediately know it because game sense. And they immediately start trying to make a move. Well, Lion has his next ability activation at 39 seconds, where he can start the countdown. So let's say that defense is literally perfect and starts making some moves. They only have 6 seconds in between activations to make those moves. So in that perfect situation, and they immediately start making plays, they only have 6 seconds to do so, and that 6 seconds isn't enough time to get to the bomb and finish, or to get to the diffuser rather, and finish destroying it before the next Lion ability activates. So in many cases, in that first 6 second window, nothing essentially happens. In many cases, nothing basically happens for that first little bit of time. So now at 39 seconds left on the diffuser, the Lion ability activates again, which burns the clock down to 32 seconds. Now, at this point, defenders only have 25 to 27 seconds at most to try and kill out all the attackers. Again, the 25 to 27 seconds depending if you're playing on competitive or if you're playing in ranked. They only have that amount of time at most to make plays, kill all the attackers, and start the diffuse. Because if they don't start the diffuse, or if they don't start trying to destroy the diffuser at that moment, like actually in the animation of punching or hitting the diffuser with their gun, they will not have the time to do so. So now after this second 6 second window, remember guys, 6 second window, something that's very easily blown past by a single frag grenade being dropped on the ground and letting it cook off. So let's assume that between these 6 second windows, the defense isn't able to do anything because, well, your buck dropped a frag grenade on top of the diffuser, or a capital fire arrow, or it was smoked off, or they were flashed by a Ying. Any of these situations to bide your time until the next activation. which will be able to be activated at 26 seconds. That will be when his last ability will trigger. And it will then end at 19 seconds. And that means that defense now has 12 to 14 seconds to begin defusing. They basically have 12 to 14 seconds to work with to kill all the attackers, do their flanks, etc., before they have to start planting the bomb. Now, I'm going to sidebar here a little bit here, but surely at this point it's starting to become a little clear why we see so many pro players, so many high-level, like Diamond, Platinum, whatever players, complaining about the strength of Lion. While he is effective at clearing out roamers, this situation is what makes him OP. Because through a single operator, one operator pick, Lion, has allowed the attackers to freely burn down the timer nearly 50% by clicking a button and not having to peek, not having to do anything risky. Just by one single operator can have that level of impact. That's why he's considered OP in this specific scenario. This is what tips the scale into the territory of being overpowered. So let's go ahead and get back to it. We'll finish. Let's keep talking about the situation here. So Lion in many cases has 14 seconds of just raw denial. Just pure 14 seconds of time where they realistically can't do anything at all. They can't move, they have to stay still for 14 seconds essentially. And in more realistic cases, he really has effectively about 20 seconds of denial, because you have at least those first few seconds of where they're not going to really be able to figure out where all the attackers are, where they're not going to be making moves on the diffuser.
He's gonna drop, dude.
And then probably the first gap in between your two charges. That 6-second timer in between there. So you have at least that timer.
When he hears me, he's gonna
plus the 2 active moments where they can't move. Plus the first few seconds of the diffuser being planted, where you have the residual effects of Ying or smoke grenades, where the defense isn't able to push through those things. So what we have is one operator who has now bled off half of the diffuse time, relieving defenders with half as much time as they previously had in a meta where it was already somewhat rare to see defense win after the plant happens. And since Lion can greatly increase the chance of the plant occurring, I think it's pretty clear to see where his strength lies. Now, this capability alone really, I would hope, conveys to everyone how strong he is, because I see a lot of people that just say, and I see a lot of people on Reddit, I see people responding on Twitter, oh, the Lion's not strong, like, you just stand still and counter him. They're just looking at him from that single perspective. They're looking at him from just wall hacks, just clearing the roamers. They're not thinking about the objective, because when you have a single operator that can make it so that the defenders suddenly have half of the time that they previously had to accomplish something, that's putting a lot of pressure down, and that's something that's too strong to be just in a button press type ability where you click it and you instantly gain that kind of time sink. But let's go into a different situation here. Let's talk about his roam clearing ability. I wanted to cover the big one first and then kind of cover the next one immediately afterwards. I wanted to get the first one away because most people, maybe not most people, but a lot of people don't watch a video to its full length. Super frustrating, by the way. A lot of people don't watch a full video till the end to hear conclusions and such things. So I really wanted to get that first one out. But let's go ahead and talk about his roam clearing right now. Now, something I discussed earlier is that Lion doesn't do anything alone, at least not ideally. He should never be the entry fragger. He is not the one-man band. He is a support operator. And Lion excels in being a support operator. He is the one operator where you are going to be droning. If you're playing Lion, you should be droning. If you're not droning, frankly speaking, you're doing it wrong. you're doing it wrong. What you need to be doing as a Lion is you'll be droning in your entry fraggers. And the second you spot a defender, you will get off of the drone, trigger the ability, get back on the drone, and while that countdown is happening where that defender is trying to position himself somewhere safe, you begin marking them on your drone, hopping around everywhere. And now your entry fragger basically gets to do one of two things. They will either wallbang that player, killing him, or they will pre-fire him coming around the corner, in most cases killing him because the defender won't be able to react. So to those that say just use a mute jammer, or just stand still, dude. That's the biggest one. The just stand still. I see people that mention the mutes, which is a valid thing, but most teams do bring a Thatcher, which means in many cases if they're being pushed on site, you don't have them anymore. But regardless, we're mostly talking about the just stand still and you'll be fine. A lot of people don't value the fact that forcing a defender to stand still for 7 seconds, regardless of the situation, is basically a death sentence. If you force a defender to stay still in this game, which so many objects are wallbangable, and in a situation where the game still has a fairly high peekers advantage with high-speed operators with high rate of fire weapons, it means that the defender nearly will always die, and that the attack basically gets a free kill for, again, clicking a button on a single operator. Now there's going to be a couple clips, and I'm sure you've probably already seen some so far, of where we are utilizing this in our ranked games. Even actually just today we were doing this. But to I guess wrap it all up, is that Lion should never be used by yourself. Lion is a team operator. Lion is a support operator. You are setting up your entry fraggers to get free kills, which is huge. Something that wasn't really super capable to do before. I mean, before, yes, you could drone through and mark someone, but they could still move freely. They could get new positions. They could set themselves up on a new angle, a new pixel peak or whatever, but with Lion's ability, active, they have to stay where they are. And staying where they are is the big thing here, because it means that, again, I know I'm rambling here, but again, like, I have to hammer the point home. By pressing a button, the attack now gets a free kill and gets a free 5v4, which is huge, especially in a meta where we already have Ying plans and everything else. Ying, Glaz, all of these operators that already put the defense at such a huge disadvantage. When you can freely take out a defender, it's a pretty big ability, and it just adds to the relatively overpowered nature that is Lion in this current meta. So hopefully, or maybe not hopefully, but I imagine that once more people become familiar with Lion, I can't imagine that most of the community played on the TTS to experience this and to practice playing Lion and such things, but many Platinum, Diamond, competitive, whatever players spend a whole heck of a lot of time on TTS. Many countless hours. Some groups of people, I think in the 2-week duration that the TTS was live for, I think probably put down 30 hours a week, somewhere around there. I think personally I did, at least, maybe a little bit less than that, playing these operators relentlessly, and they've become very familiar with them. I mean, by nature, you do when you put down that many hours practicing something new. And I imagine that once most of the community gets that amount of time on Lion, they'll begin to recognize it as well. Because those people that are claiming just stand still clearly have not met a Lion or a group of people that are familiar with Lion enough to where they communicate and the Lion is the one droning people in. I still see so many cases of Lions that either pop their ability right at the start of a round, or the Lion uses the ability and then they jump in and then they die, or they jump in and maybe get one kill. The Lion isn't the person that's going to be jumping in. Your Ashe is still going to be jumping in. Your entry fragger is still going to be jumping in. Lion basically replaces the Thatcher or the Thermite as the designated droner. So that's now his role. His role is to be on drones and only gets off drones to pop his ability. But in essence, guys, I don't want to waste more of your time here, but that's Lion in a nutshell. I hope that I properly conveyed the point to everyone that he is very, very strong. I hope that most people stayed till the end so I could describe everything. But yeah, in review, Lion is overpowered in my opinion. Lion is a very strong operator, notably because of his ability to bleed down the diffuse timer immensely just by clicking a button. I think that's too strong. That's far too strong. He shouldn't be able to have such an impact, especially, I mean, even if he had to do extra work for it, he still shouldn't have that level of an impact on the game at all, let alone having it bust just by clicking a button on your mouse or on your keyboard or whatever. But I imagine that he might not be as impactful on Hostage or Secure Area, but since those aren't really the competitive game modes, I don't really concern myself with them too much, although I could definitely see his strength in popping the Lion ability, having Ash run in, grab the hostage, or start securing the room, or toss a grenade into the room on Secure Area. I imagine that he would still remain strong on those maps, just probably not to the same degree that he is on Bomb Defuse. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. If you have any comments or I guess any general questions, please let me know. I'll be trying to get a video out on Finka, my opinions on her, how I feel that she'll be used in the future as well. I'll probably have that one out soonish. I don't have any video, I don't have any footage recorded on her quite yet, but I hopefully will be doing that probably tomorrow. But thanks again for watching the video, everyone. What's the YouTuber saying again? Ah, yes. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe. Click the notification bell to see when the next video goes live. I promise it won't be 4 months this time before the next video comes out. I'm really hoping nothing else dramatic happens with my computer. So I hope to see you all in the next video. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.